So Victoria's Health Department is investigating two likely positive cases of COVID-19 in Melbourne's northern suburbs. Reporter Stephanie Ferrier joins us now from Melbourne. Steph, what can you tell us?
Good morning. Yes, this is certainly a blow, Joe, for many of the people here in Victoria, because we have gone for 87 days in a row without any local community transmissions of coronavirus. And just a short time ago, the Health Department tweeted out saying that there were two likely cases of coronavirus. It's believed that these two individuals are connected to each other, although we're not yet sure of the connection that they have with this case from the man in Wallet, which is north of Melbourne, and he is the man who came back from the Playford Hotel in Adelaide back on the 4th of May, and he had completed his 14 days of quarantine, but obviously had picked it up there. So definitely some concern here among Victorians that are watching once again at the possibility of an outbreak in Melbourne's northern suburbs.
Yeah, so it's not clear yet exactly where these two people may have picked it up, and they're describing them as likely COVID positive cases at this stage, so there's still a lot to work out. But yeah, tell us a bit more about this timeline of when this gentleman came out of South Australian quarantine, returned to Melbourne and tested positive. So the timeline around that and when fresh alerts came up around where he'd been.
Yeah, so this man, aged in his 30s, arrived back in Victoria and back to his home in Wallet, which is just north of Melbourne, on the 4th of May. Now, he developed symptoms on the 8th of May and went and got tested around the 10th, I believe, came back with a positive result on the 11th. Now, there were several locations on the 8th of May, including train lines, as well as a Curry Vault restaurant in the CBD, you'll remember, which was an issue in terms of the QR codes, and also a Woolworths in Epping that was listed as one of the high exposure sites that he had gone to. Now, subsequent to that, we saw some wastewater detection that came up showing viral fragments in the Wallet and North Epping area back on Friday just gone. So that's the 21st of May. It's at that time that the Chief Health Officer, Professor Brett Sutton, put out a statement saying that they'd gone back through their records and I actually identified the fact that there had been a contact tracing error, that it wasn't actually the Woolworths in Epping, but it was in Epping North. I understand that that was because it came up as Epping on an electronic transaction or on a statement, and then it was clear that that was actually not quite right once they had received these wastewater fragment samples. So they'd gone back, worked out that it was Epping North. As a result of that, they'd put out a call for anybody who had been at that high-risk exposure site on the 8th of May. They got a very strong community response, which they were really pleased about. And then they found 13 individuals that had tested, that they were classifying as contacts as a result of that. Now, 10 of those 13 tests came back negative yesterday. So we were still waiting to hear back on the final 3. We do not know whether or not these two individuals are connected to those final 3 people that we were still waiting on test results, because after all, they've also received thousands of tests as a result of this wastewater fragment and people heeding that call and coming forward to get tested as well. So we're still trying to find out that information, and the ABC understands that they are currently in the throes of going through these interviews with the two individuals concerned, and so they are trying to find out all of this information, how this puzzle fits together, and it's understood that they'll probably be able to come up and do some sort of a press conference early in the afternoon at some stage once they've got all of those details. But clearly, given what has happened with this mix-up between Epping and Epping North, they're wanting to make sure that they cross their T's and dot their I's and are very careful in the information that they present to the public. Now, we also understand that as a preparatory measure, these close contacts or family members of these two individuals are already being isolated as well, and they're obviously going through the interview and trying to find anybody else that needs to get isolated as part of the so-called third ring that Victoria institutes as soon as they have any positive cases. Now, they're also urgently retesting these two individuals as well.
And I guess the concerning thing, if it is those people, and the caveat here is that we still don't know, so we won't find out till later today if they are the two people they are waiting for the results on. But if it was them, then they would have potentially been in the community for quite some time and potentially infectious.
Well, that's right. So
Yeah.
if it is that these two people are connected through Epping North, that's back on the 8th of May, and that's quite some time. So we just have to wait and see, because at the moment we haven't got any further information. The Health Department doesn't want to provide any more until they go through that really extensive interview with both of these individuals.
And Steph, the authorities are describing these as likely cases at this stage. What's your understanding as to why they would describe them as likely rather than confirmed?
Look, I have asked them that question as well. We just don't know at this stage. They're still obviously going through the retesting. The language has changed slightly from what we have heard previously when there has been a historic case, somebody that is more likely to be viral shedding. So we just don't know, and we're really going to have to wait to hear from the Health Department about that.
And Steph, this has popped up on the same day that authorities were cracking down on people not wearing masks on public transport.
Yes, that's right. So this is coming on the same day. And of course, this man from Wallet had actually gone while he was not realising that he was potentially infectious. He had actually gone on the Craigieburn line to and from the city as well, which raised the alarm. And at the time, the Public Transport Minister has since said that, we probably dodged a bit of a bullet if, there were no likely cases or no positive cases as a result of that. But what they have said is that we are going to be having this 2-week blitz, this crackdown on the use of masks, because he does say that he's a bit concerned that there has been a level of complacency that has crept in amongst Victorian commuters. The latest surveys show that we've had some 55% of people catching trains, buses and trams who are wearing their masks. But of course that means that almost half of the people aren't wearing them. And you don't know whether or not coronavirus is on board a train or tram or bus with you until well after the event. So he is very keen to make sure that people do the right thing. They are going to have these transit officers going around with masks and offering them to people who might have simply forgotten them at home. And, a lot of these people are actually heading back into work and just starting to go back into the offices as well.